Hello and welcome to the Girl Orders tab tutorial where we're going to walk you through a few different processes, including adding a transaction, adding a payment for the girl, and show you how to do goal getter orders, especially if you don't have a bunch of inventory on hand, kind of take you through that whole process. So let's jump in. We're going to click on the Girl Orders tab. For most of you, you'll see your initial order listed right under here. For my scenario, we had to add our cookies a little bit late, so we have some cookies that are considered an initial order, but they're just in the other column versus the cookie initial column. A couple of things I want to point out real quick is that we have about 223 boxes that have already been distributed out to the girls, and 228 boxes that we've ordered that we have in stock, and only about 5 of those have not been taken by a girl. So the first thing we want to do is add a payment for these boxes that were, for us, what would be our initial order, and see that I have amount due and that the girl has paid nothing. Well, I want to fix that real quick by saying yes, my girls did actually pay, and so for the initial order, and I've already added a payment, but I took it out so I can show you how to add it. You can type something in for the comment, so this one says for initial order, or you can just simply put for IO for initial order, whatever makes sense to you. And I'm going to say that my girls did a good job collecting up front. They weren't supposed to take orders without doing that, so we're just going to say that they paid everything. And if I look at it, and make sure you always save after each one of these payments, I can see that there was 180 due on this column where the boxes were added. That's how you know what actually gets added, is by a box being added on there. And then this is just simply a payment, so 180 was paid, and for all of that, come down here, I can take 180 has been due, 180 has been paid, and she owes nothing currently. And so then I would just click the Girl Orders tab and look at it, and I can see it summarized here. We'll click on and we'll finish out the other two. You can either click Add Transaction or just Payment. Once again, I already have a row for it, so I'm just going to add the payment in right here, so I don't need to add an extra one. This one sold quite a few cookies in her initial order, 152, and so I'm going to say once again, she was awesome and collected all of the money, and save. And we'll do one more quick one, but we're just going to, just for the sake of being able to see it a little bit different, go to Girl 3, click Add Payment so that you can see it, and the only one that comes up to do it, and I want to say for IO, for initial order. And she did not quite collect everything. She collected pretty close. She got 24 of her boxes, so $96 worth of inventory, and once again, want to make sure I save it. And I can see that she still has an $8 balance that will most likely get here in the next couple of weeks, hopefully once the customers start getting their cookies from the delivery. As you can see, then we have $892 that is due, and of that, $884 has been paid for a balance of $8. And that is a good way to keep track of it. It does not matter to council whether or not you use this to keep track of it, but it is awfully handy for the troop. And if there is any issues down the road, it's nice for council to be able to help, or for me to be able to look at this and see which girls actually turned in money to help get this balance correct. And so we do want to see that zeroed out in the end, that the girls have made all of their payments and for everything that was due. So let's go ahead and move on. We are in the goal getter time period, and my girls have been selling. So we are going to need to do a couple of things, because first of all, if they sold more than 5 boxes and of 5 varieties that I don't have, I need to probably add a transaction. So we would go to the Transactions tab, and we would click Add a Transaction. This is how we would add cookies to our inventory so that we can distribute them out to girls. First thing I want to do is look at the cupboard, or if I was trading with a troop or a service unit, most likely you're getting them from a cupboard. I am closest, I live in Nampa, but the closest cupboard to me is in Boise, so I'm going to go ahead and select that one. And then I need to actually add it in by either packages or cases. And because I only have a little bit of inventory and I've got only a few girls and we're not selling a whole bunch, I kind of want to know exactly how much I should add of which variety. I don't want to just take a guess. So what we've done is we've actually created a little calculator, and you can download this. Here, I'll show you on our website. You just scroll down, go to Girl Scouts, click Cookies, Girl Scout Cookie Program. It'll take you to this page. Scroll down, and there's all these troop resources, but the one you want is here's the Goal Getter order card if you need one of those. But the Goal Getter calculator, click that and download it. I've already got it downloaded and it's right here. So I'm just going to clear out the numbers that are currently in there, and it's just like the initial order. So there is no other way to add up by variety the different cookies that you might need. So we just created a simple one that helps add it all up. Down here at the bottom, it'll show you exactly what you need to add to your order. So I am going to add them up. My first girl I'm going to want her total to be 37 boxes is kind of what I have. So we'll just say she did a few of those, 4 of those, maybe a couple of those, and we're just going to get that number pretty quickly up to 37. And so, as you can see, we have 37 there, and we're going to keep filling this out for whatever numbers. As you remember, my second girl was quite the seller, so we're just going to add up maybe some numbers that kind of look like what you might see. And, probably went over a little bit on this one because I only wanted to go to 58, so let's take off maybe, let's go down to 5. 5, and we need 10 more guns, so let's go 5 and 2 more, so 3. And once again, you can still see that there is one cookie missing. We do not have Toffee Tastic available during the Goal Getter or the initial order, so it's not included on this. And my final girl just sold another couple more. She sold 29 more, which I'll kind of show what that means. One of the reasons that I have this one in there. Let's go 5 and then just 3, just to get some numbers in there. So when I scroll down, what I have is a few numbers. I have 9 Rah Rah, 13 Savannah Smiles, 11 Trefoils, 13 Do-Si Dos, 38 Samoas, 15 tags, and 25 Thin Mints. So we will use those numbers to order our totals. So once again, Savannah Smiles, we said we had 13, we had 11 Trefoils, 13 Do-Si Dos as well, 38 Samoas. Rah Rah Raisins, we had 9. Tagalongs, we had 15, and then 25, and again, no Toffee Tastic. I did order this in packages. It will convert to cases and packages when you pick up at the cupboard, but that's how you do it. I can either hit Save and Print or OK. Save and Print will automatically save it, but I do have to, it'll open up a print screen. So I'm just going to click OK. Review my order for 124 packages, and hopefully my 37, 58, and 29 actually adds up to the 124. And I'm going to click Save. Now, if I really wanted to, let's say I messed something up and I want to switch this out, I can still correct it. As you can see, it already converted it to cases and packages, so I might have to go back in and do it if I really want to convert it in any meaningful way. But that's how we can do it. And I can just say, okay, and I'll save it one more time just to make sure. So now if I go back to my girl, even though I just ordered them, they show up down here. So I can see that they were added. So now I have 124 plus the 5 that I already had, adding up to 129 boxes that I can put out to the girls. And because I know what those numbers are, I'm going to do an add a transaction. And I did collect the money right up front, so I'm going to call this the GG, or the Goal Getter. You can call it whatever you like. Whatever helps you to remember why you added these numbers is a good idea. And I'm going to find the GG column over here. So it's the goal getter column. And if I remember, because I'm not adding in full or in by variety anymore, all I need is that total number, which was 37 boxes. And because I know that they paid already, so they collected all their money up front once again, did an awesome job collecting the money. I know that I have $148 that I should and I can just put in right there, and it zeroes it out. And once again, my girl 1 has a zeroed out balance. And I can, once again, I'm just going to go very quickly and do this for the other two. I'm going to say GG, go to the goal getter column, 58. And if I want to do a quick cheat, see how much it is. So 200, I'm going to pretend like they paid all the way to, and make sure I save it. And I have all my records with all of that showing. And once again, I have girl 3, where I'm going to add a transaction, once again for the GG column, and 29 boxes. And once again, they only were able to collect a partial amount. So they were able to collect, let's say $48 of what was supposed to be. So we still see that, again, there's a $76 balance of what is owed, 68 from this one, and again the 8 from the other, but it's all showing me right there what they owed from and what I've collected for, because I know this was for the initial order, but I've been keeping careful records so I can see exactly it all in one nice clean spot versus trying to go through all those payment receipts. And again, I want to save it. So one of the things that I'll point out is that to earn the Goal Getter Diva patch, you do need to sell 30 boxes. And if it is added in here correctly, both Girl 1 and Girl 3, which is a little bit confusing, both have earned their Goal Getter patch. But unfortunately, because Girl 2 was not able to sell quite as many for that time period, only 29 boxes, they did not quite earn that Goal Getter Diva patch. And so that would be reflected automatically when you go to fill out your final rewards. It will recognize and pick that up automatically for that section. And once again, I'm down to my 5 boxes. One thing that I might want to do, if I'm really thinking now, I've done my initial order, done my goal getter, I'm getting pretty excited about all this, I think I want to do a few more booths. And so once again, we might just say, I want to do kind of the minimal. I just want to do 1 booth, and I want to get the right amount of cookies for that. And so I would suggest, and this is probably a little bit high here, maybe we'll say that we're going to do a couple of booths versus, because otherwise I have to do all of this in boxes. We're going to do 2 booths. So this is about the right amount when you're going to do several booths. And I want to do, we'll just play it safe and get 2. And we are going to just get about 6 of these, and we'll be adventurous and see how well those Toffee-tastics really sell. Once again, from the Boise cupboard, because it's the closest place for me, I'm going to click OK, make sure it looks okay. That's another 200 boxes almost, and save. So when I go back in, I have my girl orders. And I'm just going to pretend like we had an awesome time at our booth sales. We come back and we're going to do some things. If you have selected booth sales and I haven't, you would be able to, and maybe I will just select one real quick so that I can show you how that works. So I'm going to go to my booth spots. I'm going to find one in Boise. I'm going to go with a Idaho Youth Ranch on Fairview. I wanted to do the first weekend to make sure I did it right, and so I'm going to submit that right there. And so now my time is reserved, and when I go back into my girl orders, I can say I want to record a booth sale. So I'm going to click that one. It's going to pop up. There is an app for this. All three of my girls were there, and you know what? We were actually able to sell all 198 plus the 5 that we already had. A couple of them were going to be donated. So, well, I don't want to tie them in quite yet. So I think we'll see. And how many of them were Toffee-tastic? I did one case, so I want to make sure I add those in right away. So I had 12. And I should have received $60 for those, and it will add up the money, and it will automatically distribute that for the girls. But you don't have to be absolutely correct on this. You technically could put it all 100 and sorry, my math skills are a little bit. So I had 203 originally. Already subtract out 12, so 191. Am I close when I do that? So 203, there we go. So my math isn't too bad. Now, I can either say distribute, and it'll distribute to all of the girls equally as it can. So one girl got a little bit less. Or I can say, you know what, this girl wasn't there for the entire time, and I can switch those around, and it'll tell me how many were actually distributed to make sure I'm getting it correct. But I'm just going to say, you know what, I think I'm done. I'm going to submit that sale. It all went through, I believe. Sale size numbers are updated. And when I go to the girl orders, I should be able to see on the cookie booth section that they were able to get their boxes added. And if I'm lucky, my difference is now 0. So I have 0 more boxes that I need to distribute out. So if I go in, look at girl 1, I can see that she had her initial order, her payment for initial order, because that's all that was for, the goal getter ones, and the payment was added right when I added the goal getter, and the Idaho Youth Ranch, her boxes were completed and everything is zeroed out. So as you can see, everything is all finalized and I am all done. So for this girl, so she is completely taken care of. If we remember, we had one girl that did not have a final payment. Now all my boxes are distributed and I don't have to do anything else, but I still want to collect that $76. So at some point, make sure you're staying on the girls or staying on their parents, more likely, to be collecting that money so that you can come back in. Finally, my girl 2 made her last payment, so I'm going to add one last payment and say this was again for both initial order and goal getter. So it was a little bit of a mixture of both, so we'll just say I collected all of it. I'm going to say okay, and once again I'm going to save it. So I go back over here, and now everything is zeroed out. Then I would, if at the very end you want to go to the rewards, you'd fill those out. Right now those aren't quite ready to be accessed, so I'm not going to show you how to do that. I'll show that a little bit later. But I can look at my sales report and see that all of my cookies were showing up here, and that hopefully the right amount that I had, the right amount of Toffee-tastic, it all adds up and it matches whatever my troop sells, the 2224. Hopefully I got this right. And 2224. So I must have messed up my Toffee-tastic at some point, or not had that calculating. Sometimes that is the issue, that you'll see that those boxes don't add up quite. They'll add up as $1 less, and so instead of having the 2224, which I am exactly $12 short. So just be aware that that happened a lot last year. It's the first year. Last year was the first year that we ever noticed that there was a discrepancy, and that just all depends on making sure that, well, we did have them. So I'm not quite sure why it didn't pick up on it in the girl order. It might just be a calculation or error, because I do have them. Once again, the Toffee-tastic at my booth was added in there. So hopefully that gave you a quick look at how to add orders and payments into the girl orders, how to add transactions if you need them, and of course where to add the goal getters when it's time. Remember, those sales should happen between February 1st and February 25th for them to count towards the goal getter. program. They can continue taking orders if that's what they want, but they do need to stop at the 25th for that number to count towards this specific reward. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.